Welcome to the UNA Baseball Review. Here are your hosts, Coach Mike Keene and Jeff Hodges.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the UNA Baseball Review. I'm Jeff Hodges along with UNA head baseball coach Mike Keene. Coach Keene, the UNA Lions 22-18-1 overall. You're 12-9 in the Gulf South Conference, and you're coming off a big Gulf South Conference series with Valdosta State. The Lions won that series 2-1, and right now really just kind of looking at the conference standings. You know, everybody's going to make the conference tournament, but just kind of trying to win every game you can and try to improve your placement for that conference tournament.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting, other than Delta State and UH, are as far as the loss column, they're up there quite a bit. Everybody's got a lot of ground to make up between those two. But if you go from third down to seventh, everybody's within a game to 2 games. So one weekend you could go from 7th place to 3rd place in one weekend, depending on what the other teams do. So it's going to be really tight down to the stretch, and it's going to see who's going to play well in those last 2 weekends. One
thing unusual in this year's standings is UNA is the only school of the 10 in the GSC that's played all 21 of their conference games, and I think it's kind of been our story here, our tradition, that with the tarp and the lights, y'all have always managed to get the games in that you needed to, but that's really created some discrepancies in that UAH and Delta State didn't play West Florida or Valdosta State or some of the other tougher teams, so there's really a discrepancy in the amount of games that people have played.
Yeah, and I think that's really kind of in the standings, because you didn't get that extra game in, or you didn't play the series or the games that you needed, so you didn't really have some teams that might have made a little different move just based on what they're going to play. And I think sometimes, we've had early in the year, we made some decisions to move game times to get those games in, and sometimes we feel that's what you have to do to get them in. Some just rain never stops. So yeah, it is unusual. Usually you'll have maybe 1 to 2 games and maybe about maybe 2 teams, but when we're the only team that's played all games, that's really, really unusual.
The Lions with the big home series against Valdosta State, and the Blazers had started slow, but they'd really been coming on of late. Game 1, UNA loses 9-7, but you're down 7-2. You're able to have a 5-run rally and tie the game, but they were able to score a couple of runs late.
Yeah, I felt going into this weekend, especially Valdosta, they were very, very good pitching staff, haven't been giving up a lot of runs. And we felt with our starting pitching, but it was one of those games where they did a good job of just putting the ball in play, and Chad couldn't put them away, and then every ball that seemed to hit found a location. But I thought we fought back real hard to tie the game, which was an unusual high-scoring game, and we just weren't able to hold them down again. They got their lead guy off and did some good execution. I got to give them credit. They played a good game.
Game 2, Michael Watkins stepped up again. The Lions up 4-0 late. You won that one 4-2, but Michael with his conference leading 6th complete game, and you got some early offense in that one, but he really just dominated Valdosta in that game.
Yeah, the whole weekend overall, I really thought offensively we did a good job, because I thought it was going to be tough to score any runs, kind of like with West Alabama, but we were able to hit their pitchers around more than I thought. All 3 of their lefties had really good arms, but Michael again just pitched a great game. He's been huge in that second game, another complete game, and really was under control. They were just able to get some guys scratch a couple of runs across, but it really wasn't in that much of jeopardy, especially the way he was pitching that day.
And the final game of the series on that Sunday, a senior day for the Lions, so 6 guys playing having their senior day. But Cade Medley was really the story that day. UNA won 6-0. Cade allowed just 4 hits, only 6 base runners, including an error, and just really dominated. He was Gulf South Conference Pitcher of the Week and Regional Pitcher of the Week, and just did a great job.
It was, and he's been, like I said, he's been huge every Sunday game, with wins over Delta State and West Florida early in the season when we needed to get a win or a series win, and he's been able to do that. I thought we had a zone that was a little bit wider, and I thought he did a great job of had great location, had some velocity, his changeup, all pitches were working really well. Just really overmatched them and what we actually needed, and then we were able to score another pretty good offensive game against another pitching, and we were able to get that win, and good win for our seniors that got out there, and we got everybody in the game. And that's saying a little bit about the baseball. You don't, in all the other sports you can come back in. Once you're out of the game, you're out of the game, and that was such an important weekend for us. Anyway, we needed to get that victory to keep us in, as far as a conference championship, but or a conference tournament and seeding. So it was a good weekend. Great job of pitching by Cade.
We had some great crowds, great weather for that series. In contrast, as well as you played on the weekend, a middle of the week game against Montevallo. The Lions lost 10-4. The weather kind of turned bad. The performance kind of turned bad, but the Lions took a tough loss in that one.
It was, it's the 3rd time we played Montevallo, and, you felt like, maybe this was the one we wanted to be able to get it. And it's been kind of the pattern of our midweek. This year it's been a little different than the past. Obviously we got some new faces in the lineup, but, just our effort, as far as the effort wasn't terrible. It's just our execution and our play. And again, we they were a good team put in play, and we just didn't do enough offensively, and we had way too many walks, and then you make mistakes, and it really allowed them to really expand, really create we created their own problems, and Montevallo took full advantage of it.
We'll take a quick break and we'll have some highlights from the Valdosta State series when we come back.
TVA Credit Union was established by the Farm Credit Administration on June 24, 1936, with 7 branches full of financial experts offering personal advice. TVA Credit Union offers low rates for mortgages, auto and personal loans, as well as higher rates on savings and CDs. TVA Credit Union is member-owned and operated, and now open to the community. TVA Credit Union is everybody's credit union. Give TVA Credit Union a call today, 256-386-3000, or stop by any branch.
Daddy, can I get a puppy, please?
Okay, Sammy. It's bedtime.
Oh, 10 more minutes, please.
10 more.
Yes, please.
Hey, Daddy, will you buy some alcohol for my party tonight? We'll be right here at the house. You can even take the keys. Please?
Absolutely not.
Never let me have anything.
Don't be a pushover.
I hate you.
Be a parent. Prevent. Don't provide alcohol to minors.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. It's time now for our game highlight segment. Coach Keene, today we're going to look at the Lions' Sunday game against Valdosta State. The Lions end up winning the game and the series 6-0. And here's just a quick shot of the senior day for your 6 senior members, but decided to come out with a camo on Sunday.
Yeah, it was like we did this, and based on this, I asked them before the game, I said, it's up to you seniors, what do you want to wear, the purple or the camel, and they all said they wanted to wear the camel, so we did. And like I said, this was such a big game. We split having the game to win the series. Obviously, we knew that it was going to be a challenge, especially with Valdosta's pitching. And but like I said, when Cade come out pitching the way he did, I thought, well, that was great. And you can see right there, we're talking about the zone, that outside corner, he was calling it, but Cade had good velocity, and that's. When we were getting that call, that's one of those things, and they're going to do it against us again. He was pretty consistent about it, and able to get out of the first inning and get things going. And like I said, I knew it was going to be tough, but like I said, I saw Cade right off the bat. It looked like he's going to have a good day. And
it's always nice when you can get a run in the first inning. The Lions going to take a 1-0 lead here. But talking about Medley's pitching performance, he only allows 4 hits, 1 walk, and 1 guy reached on an error. So
right.
Just a tremendous for 9-inning game, only 6 base runners.
It was, and I think he's been one of those guys that he's been really good about his pitching and forcing contact and location. The thing about Jake, he's kind of battling a little bit of a quad injury. You can see him limping around, but he's been so good in the leadoff role, gets on base with walks, hits a double, gets us started. So we're over here trying to get things going. We actually bunted him over third. Josh had a real good bunt. Here's a ball that we get, who Josh Sear I think has had just some tremendous approaches at the plate, very patient, walked almost 40 times. So he gets a good pitch and he got it up in the outfield. Now whether he caught it or not, he still got the ball where we need to score the run, so we'll get on the board. And like I said, it was really important, I think, to get on the board right away.
And the wind was a little confusing. It blew out at times. It blew in really hard there, and I think kind of confused the left fielder, but
right.
That worked to UNA's advantage.
Yeah, it really did. It was a really windy day, which we've had. Like I said, it's been a lot of wind, so it's one of those games that get a little scary because you throw a good pitch, a fly ball could get out of the ballpark, and so you never know what's going to happen. But then you can see right there, Cade still locating that outer half and getting a lot of strikeouts and looking, and so and I just, like I said, he really understood the strike zone and really just see the ball jump and mixes in a changeup, and all 3 pitches working. Cade works really hard, and like I said, and I think he works quick. Our defense really likes playing behind him, and that he's going to be quality pitches. So like I said, it was getting at the time it was good. Keeps on going. Looked like it was going to be a real pitcher's duel, another tight game, and I think you see he's coming out again. There's his mixes his changeup, and I said he's got when he's got those 2 pitches going, he's always tough. But when he gets his slider going with that, he becomes really tough. So again, just a really good outing. And
he's kind of taking the role that Chad Bonner had been in this role for the last couple of years. Winning that Sunday game for the Lions, but Cade's been every bit as strong, and you can see the confidence. He's come out, like you said, in several series and won really big games for us.
Right, and I think that's coming from Wallace Hansville. Obviously a good program that they have a lot of high expectations of winning. So he was been around that environment, so he has that mentality, that he's going to come out and have a good game every day, and if he doesn't, he's going to be disappointing. And you can see again that we're also making the plays behind him, and that's the other part of this thing. Again, here's Sear, which we talked about all year long, the plays he made, and getting those ground balls. So what we're doing right here is they're not getting any free opportunities to make anything happen. And when you do that, it's amazing how much more success you can have. Then you can see that changeup again. He busted him in earlier, thought it was going to come in again, can't pick it up, and gets another strikeout.
And again, just a 1-0 game, so very important to keep him off the bases.
Now here's something that I thought really helped and changed this game. Thomas Lombarg probably had one of his better days behind the plate. He always frames well, but he threw some runners out, and instead of having a guy in scoring position, we're back in the inning. He did. I think he threw 2 or 3 runners out in this game, and that made such a difference in the game. You can see there's a pitch. And it's been called, that was close, but you see that one kind of stretched out a little bit further, was a little bit on the other side of the chalk line and up a little bit. So, but again, Sears, such a good eye, gets on base. His on-base percentage is just off the roof. So.
And Josh has now tied the school career record, 119 bases on balls. So.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, prior to this season, especially what happened, last year's Josh, I told him we need to be a little more patient, not swing a lot of stuff, and he's been able to do that. Again, we get him on base, get another walk, make some things happen. We get a hit here, and here's a hit that the guy was hit kind of right at him. Obviously, Josh doesn't run real well. The guy misplayed the ball and kicked it forward, and he was able to read it and then score on that mistake. And Matthew Tittle, I thought he really had a really good weekend. I think he was a difference in our ability to score runs, is because Matthew was hitting with runners in scoring position. And there was another one where he was able to get a hit.
And Kate, into the 7th inning now. He's actually going to go all 9, get a complete game win for you, but. What's his pitch count like here in the 7th?
Oh, his pitch count was it was amazing, because his pitch count wasn't even hard. I think it was barely in the 80s at that time. So we knew when I saw that, I said, well, we know he's probably going to get a chance to get a complete game. But part of that thing is too, he was locating early, getting outs early, not obviously getting a lot of base runners. So again, here now in the 7th, they're trying to make some things happen. But we keep the ball from moving, keeping it first and second. But the thing right now, as well as he's locating, and teams are going to make runs at you, and we knew they were, and the game being 2-0, it obviously was a close game, so we need to come up, make a play. Well, we get that a ground ball, and he gets a feed, the double play, and we get a chance. We turn it to close play, we get the call, and it was a bang play. And if you're ever umpiring up the middle like that is a tough call, because you're asked to watch the guy at second, turn your head, and get a call at first base, and I've seen that. I've actually been out there, and it's hard to turn your head to really pick up the ball. So, about 90% of the time, you're going to get the out call in that situation.
Lions going to be able to extend the lead. One more run here in the 7th inning, make it 3-0.
And here's a pitch. It was in, and it looked like it was in. He wasn't checked to swing, which obviously he didn't. I know they kind of thought he did. It just was a little bit of an awkward pitch, but his hands never left the bat. So again, here we got something going, and. Normally, we get a situation here, get the force out. They can't turn the double play, but again, we're trying to, continue to keep the pressure on. We really need to expand, because obviously this is a tight ball game, and anything can happen. So just hopefully something's going to be able to happen. We get a call inside there, trying to make some things, get a stolen base, and it's one of those things. He hadn't called many in. But Andrew, just one of those, I know was a frustrating day for him, but we get a stolen base, get a guy in scoring position, and then we finally get something here. Bradley gets a pitch up over the plate, gets out there just enough for each guy, can't make a play, scores another run. So that play and that hit, that double there with that run at 2-0 to get that third run, I thought was just really huge at that time, and especially with the 2-out hit. So it was a great job by Bradley getting that extra run in.
And in that game, there had not been a lot of really well hit balls, and that one really cracked off the bat. And, just a nice drive to left center.
Yeah, and Bradley's got some pop in his bat. I think sometimes they look at his size. I don't think he does, so they kind of play a little shallow. But like I said, you said a good effort by Valdosta, but it was out of his reach. And like I said, we need to kind of keep it going. And Cade comes out, again getting ground balls. He gets that ground ball. We get a chance to turn another double play right here, and that's that's what Cade was doing. He get a lot of ground balls and pitching out of it. And they had to hit a lot of ball hard. So our job is defensively is to make the plays and continue to do so, and we did. Now all of a sudden the base is low, and you see there's that slider. That he saw had work, and they hadn't seen that, and you can see that pitch. It looked like it was going to be a fastball or changeup, and boy, he cut that off the plate and got another strikeout.
And this is the best thing you can see as a coach who's had a team drop several games late. He's going to get 3 insurance runs here in the bottom of the 8th.
And then again, we're getting here. We bring, Drew Humphrey comes in the game. Has been played obviously quite a bit for us this year. We did face left-handed pitching, so that's otherwise he probably would have been in there starting that game, but able to get him in late. Great job by him of getting things going. So we get a leadoff hit, we get a walk. Now we got runners at first and second, a chance to get some things going. But we got, and again, now we're at the meat of our lineup. We got the 3, 4, 5 guys coming up. So, Sear obviously leading us in RBI, so you feel pretty good about your opportunities to hit. Another patience, and and again. Recently, we haven't, bases loaded almost was like, hope we don't, but obviously you do, and we want to be able to get some things going. So Now bases loaded, we're trying to expand. They bring in another pitcher there, hits the ball, gets a ground ball, and gets by over there, and then we have to score that run. Score a couple runs. Of course, we had good speed on the bases, so that helps, when you're able to get that happening. So again, hits that ball hard, and that was, like I said, Matthew had such a good approach all weekend. He didn't, I told him you need to stay more middle of the way, hit more line drives. He did exactly what I asked him to do. Then we get another shot here, ball that didn't really hit a little while, and it just ended up being a perfect location to expand a lead. And like I said, it was, like you said, we have not had a lot of that late. You get a little breathing room, with 3-0, now to go up 6-0. It just, you feel a lot better about your chances. Obviously, we get to put Cade back out there to finish the game up, which is well deserved. But like I said, his pitch count wasn't even hardly in the 100 yet, so plenty of time, and he's still pitching well. You saw his stuff. His stuff is tremendous here. And then we had a little situation. We had to change our defense around. Carpenter was playing third, hasn't played all year long, so I know he was going to cover this. Sure enough, they're going to get all the balls are going to be hit to third. So, but he's able to handle that when we made the move. Had to put Bradley Nolan at second base. Not ideal for your defensive situation, what you did, but I felt we needed to keep our infielders as much as we can, and that's what Bradley was. But
he was definitely under pressure there, and both the first two balls came right at him, but made great plays.
Yeah, and then like I said, you see there a good, I think, appropriate way to end that game with Cade getting a strikeout because of just how well he pitched. Real proud of him, and he's been just such a great asset to our team, and just the way he pitches, the way he approaches everything, and that's one thing, most of the time in the weekends we feel pretty good about our starting pitching.
Cade now 5-1, his third complete game, and you're also undefeated in the camos, so you might want to break them out a little more often this season. But we're going to take another quick break, and we'll have some player highlights when we come back.
TNT Fireworks is proud to support the University of North Alabama and the Lion baseball team. Like the UNA baseball program, TNT Fireworks is committed to excellence. Our product, service, and teamwork are the reasons we are America's #1 selling fireworks brand. Check us out at TNTfireworks.com. And remember, if it's not TNT, it's not fireworks. TNT Fireworks encourages the entire Shoals area to support head coach Mike Keene and his UNA Lions by attending a game at Mike D. Lane Field. Roar Lions!
He is the most interesting man in the Shoals. He is an artist, a writer, a philosopher, a historian, musician, astronomer, wine connoisseur, environmentalist, Peace Prize recipient. When he speaks, people hang on each and every word, especially the verbs. His personality is so magnetic that he cannot carry credit cards. It is said that once he taught a German shepherd how to bark in Spanish and taught a horse to read his email. Someone recently asked him what he did for fun, and here is what he said.
I don't eat out every day, but when I do, I eat at City Hardware because to me, it's the most interesting restaurant in the Shoals.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. It's time now for our player profile segment. Coach Keene, we're going to look at three of your pitchers from the UNA pitching staff today. The first one, Morgan McCarley, a newcomer to UNA this season from Vina. He really had some strong performances for you early in the season, and we'll go to those highlights now.
Yeah, Morgan has a good arm, and he did start out, and I said it's like no secret with our bullpen. It's been very inconsistent. They'll have one good outing and then the next one not so good, but he's not the only one that's been in that situation. But like I said, as far as stuff and athleticism, he has a good pickoff move. He's got a good arm, good breaking ball. But a lot of times that's being able to have the confidence to be able to come in tight games. And sometimes you get from other pros. It is a little bit more pressure to play here at UNA. I mean, there's a lot more on the line. There's a lot higher expectations. You're in that level of competition is going to be good all year long. So you got to be able to get out there. You got to be consistent. Now, stuff-wise, obviously he has it. I mean, he's got really good arm. He's got good breaking ball, and I think it's one of those things. If he ever can keep his emotions under control and figure it out, I mean, he's got something special. And that's kind of the challenge. And you get individuals like that, all over the time that they're their own, sometimes their own worst enemy.
Brad Van Fegman, also a junior, pitched a little bit for you last year. He's had a couple of good outings late. Pitched well against Montevallo.
He's probably, Brad works really hard. I know for our staff, with the way he handles himself, just a very quality individual. Probably more than anybody was waiting for an opportunity to the way it was going to go, and we kind of were trying to look for that chance to get him. Well, the other day he got in there and was able to pitch an inning, and was able to not allow the other team to score any more runs. But as far as how he works, how he approaches it, he works as hard as anybody else on our staff, and just a really good guy to have on our staff. And like I said, the thing is, he just hasn't got a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You have 12 guys that have thrown this season, and finding those spots where you can use each of them is sometimes a challenge.
Right, and and like I said, the biggest thing is you have one guy you think, okay, he had a really good, so you throw him back out there. Well, then that's really been the challenge. And obviously we had some guys, especially with the success that Clonch and Seabrook had last year. So you kind of been given those little opportunities, and just hadn't worked out that way.
Riley Sanderson was redshirted last season, had surgery going into this year. She really didn't know what was going to happen with him, but he's been pretty outstanding. A 2-3 record, but a 3.31 ERA, which is second best on the team. And he's pitched 32 2/3 and done most of the midweek pitching.
Yeah, and this is probably one of our nice surprises on the staff, because we really didn't know. And Riley's really done some good. Had some really good midweek outings. I thought even against Montevallo, his location wasn't good, but he had a live fastball. I thought it was really jumping. They were really struggling to get to it. He's kept us in a lot of games. The one thing we got to be able to do is to keep his pitch count down a little bit more so he can get a little more than 5 or 6 innings. I'd like to get, when he gets into 80 pitches, to be closer into the 7th inning. That would get him closer to getting a complete game, and that's something he's going to work on. But he's only a freshman, and I think for us, with the excitement of that coming back, is he's got out on the mound in a lot of big games. Having him come back and having success, whether it's in a weekend or even in this role next year, could be huge.
That's our player profile segment for today. And Coach Keene, as you go forward toward the conference tournament, your pitching staff will certainly be very important in that. But you've got some veterans in Watkins and Bonner, all your sophomores that pitched last year. They all have experience from the conference tournament from a year ago.
Right. I think just looking at how the season's going, I think we also feel good about our starting pitching, our weekend pitchers, and I think we have you put Damon Erickson and then Riley Sanderson in there, so it gives you 2 pretty good arms that could also pitch if you expand to get into that 4th and 5th game, and then just see how it's going to go. Now, obviously, what we got to do is be able to get a lot of good innings out of our starters, and then play good defense, and be able to get some leads to take some pressure off of our bullpen. But we'll find out. We got 2 weekends to continue to try to play well, and maybe we can. We've been talking all year about getting on a roll. It just hasn't happened, and maybe this is the time it will.
We'll take a quick break, and we'll look at take a closer look at the GSC standings when we come back.
Morgan Stanley is proud to sponsor the University of North Alabama Lions. Please see one of our financial advisors, Chris Smith, Bill Jeffrey, Joe Curtis, John Jeffrey, or David Jeffrey, to assist you with your financial needs.
Hi, I'm Mike Keene, head baseball coach at the University of North Alabama. Have you ever heard the saying, great baseball players are made in the off-season? As a college baseball coach, I can tell which high school recruits are on a weight program and which ones are not. Help your young athlete reach the top of his sport by training with the personal trainers at the Courthouse Racket Club. Our 5 trainers are ready to work at your athlete's pace and your schedule. Try our 3andMe training program designed for 3 athletes to work with a trainer and lower the cost to fit any budget. Call Ken Irby at 764-0034 to set up a program designed especially for your young athlete. The Courthouse Racket Club, proudly serving the Shoals for 30 years.
Daddy, can I get a puppy, please?
Okay, Sammy. It's bedtime.
Oh, 10 more minutes, please.
10 more.
Yes.
Please? Hey, Daddy. Will you buy some alcohol for my party tonight? We'll be right here at the house. You can even take the keys. Please?
Absolutely not.
Each time I turn around. Never let me have anything.
Don't be a pushover.
I hate you.
Be a parent. Prevent. Don't provide alcohol to minors.
Morgan Stanley is proud to sponsor the University of North Alabama Lions. Please see one of our financial advisors, Chris Smith, Bill Jeffrey, Joe Curtis, John Jeffrey, or David Jeffrey, to assist you with your financial needs.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. Coach Keene will take a look at the Gulf South Conference standings now. And as we mentioned earlier in the show, UNA the only team in the GSC of the 10 to have played all 21 games, so that creates a lot of discrepancy in number of games played, winning percentage, that kind of thing. But that's what will ultimately determine for the conference tournament. And all 8 of the teams that are members of the GSC Union this short are not included this year. But the other 8 will all advance to the conference tournament. So you're really playing for seeding here, not playing to get in as you have in years past. But you start at the top. Delta State 15-2-1, Alabama Huntsville 12-4-1. They've kind of set themselves apart from the rest of the group.
Yeah, and that was and like I said, you never know what's going to happen in GSC. You think UH has really been rolling right along, and then West Georgia upsets them. So that was something that kind of caught everybody off guard. So obviously West Georgia's got enough pitching to keep a very good offensive team down. So they kind of put themselves back in the equation. But, right now, that middle group, anything could happen. We've tried for years to get where you can have games where you can maybe go a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the Sunday, Monday to try to get to all the games in. We just have not been able to allow that to happen. So like you have a year like this year, there's obviously a lot of teams that haven't played a lot of games, so it's going to come down, which is sometimes unfortunate for percentages. Now the good thing is everybody's in, because we were locked in 2009. You remember we got out because we didn't play a series, so we lost to percentages and we didn't get to play our way in. So sometimes it can be a little disappointing.
As you said, 5 teams between that 7 to 9 loss, so basically within a game of each other in the standings. But if you look at North Alabama defeated UAH in this series, 2 games, 1 could have swept them. You won a game from Delta State, so there's really nobody that anybody's really afraid of this year. It's very balanced, and I think wherever you end up in the seeding, you'll do just fine.
Yeah, and that was what I kind of looked at. I think anytime the GSC is always like that. I think who can get hot, who can play well, who can control the baseball. Obviously Delta State's continue to play well. They continue to be in one of the top teams in the country, where a couple of the others have kind of slipped a little bit, which happens in baseball. You'll have some stretches where some part of your game maybe not going as well as it had been, but it can easily turn around and you can get on a roll. And right now, especially in the pitching category, everybody's got some good arms on the weekend. So, that's the thing to me is I just think that's going to come down to, getting the right hit, moving runners over, and who can control the baseball. Because, based on what I've seen, everybody's got at least 2 to 3 good arms.
I was going to say, in years past in Southern Arkansas, I had Hayden Simpson or some pitchers like that. There was one guy everybody kind of really focused at, and you didn't want to see them in the first game. But really, UNA's starting pitching is as good as anybody in the league.
Right. I think that's the thing, even for matchups, for us, we feel good about how our pitching's done. So I think, for going into that standpoint, I think we're going to obviously be in every game. And if we can, do what we have done before, there's games when we really look, sharp offensively, defensively, and quality pitching. And that's really what's going to come down to. But like I said, the other thing is everybody's number one. You look at the numbers around and the pitching staff, and it's pretty impressive, some of the numbers that are going on this year.
In a different setting for the conference tournament this year at AT&T Field in Chattanooga. That'll be a new facility. The tournament's moved around a couple years since many years in Millington, but that's going to be a great facility and a great tournament. As we said, everybody's in it, so it's May 2nd through the 6th. If you plan on going, you can go ahead and make reservations. The Lions would play at some point on that Thursday, but it's going to be a great facility and great setting for the tournament.
Right, and it's usually been a Friday through Tuesday tournament, and they moved it to Thursday to Monday to get an opportunity to play in this beautiful ballpark. Chattanooga's a great town. Been over there visiting with my family, so there's a lot of stuff to do. So the tournament is going to be, it does start on Thursday, has to finish on Monday because the Lookouts have a game on Tuesday, so hopefully the weather will cooperate. But should be a great venue, great opportunity for our guys to play in a beautiful stadium. And I think what it is come in there and watch a game, and there's still a lot of stuff to do you can do around Chattanooga.
And in your years as head coach at UNA, the Lions have done very well in the conference tournament, but it's a tough grind. 4 games the first day, 4 games the second day. Each team playing 1 game a day, but really you got to win 4 or 5 games to get out of there with a title.
Yeah, when you got 8 teams, obviously this is just win 2 or 3 games. When if you go all the way, and you're fortunate enough to continue to go, and if you don't, you get back to loser bracket, you're going to look at they're still having to win about 5 games to win it all. So it's a lot of games in a short period of time.
Lions playing their last 7 regular season games on the road, first at Christian Brothers, then Freed-Hardeman, then at West Georgia, then the conference tournament. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again here next week.
Thank you for watching the UNA Baseball Review. Please join us again next Sunday at 11:30.